Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that you can use at home to find your AC system leaks. First of all, you want to make sure that your system got UV dye in it. You can always go to your mechanic and ask them to put some UV dye. And you can also use a Freon can that already got a UV dye inside of it to recharge your system, but you have to understand that it takes time to the dye to walk around inside of your system and pass through the seal that you're gonna be able to see with the yellow glass and the UV light. The first thing you want to get to do this job is to buy this kind of gauge. They are pretty cheap on Amazon. It's around 30 bucks. I'm gonna put the link inside of the description. So now that you got your set, there's two valves. The blue one is for the low side and the red one is for the high side. So you want to close the both side. When the car doesn't run, you're gonna have a static pressure. What that means, there is no low pressure and high pressure. The both side of the system communicate, so you're gonna have the same pressure. So we're gonna see if my system is empty or not. And to do that, you cannot miss this one, the blue connector and the red connector. The red is for the high, the blue for the low. And right there, the cap with the H, this is the high side. So make sure the valves are closed and you just want to connect. This is a quick connect. You just have to pull on that and you cannot miss this step because the connector is not the same size at the low port and the high port. So you're gonna plug the red one. And now I missed the cap, but just right there, this is the low side. So I'm gonna connect this hose to the low side. And now, as you see, my system is pretty empty. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the yellow end of this hose. This is a valve. This valve right there communicates to the red side and to the yellow side. This red part, it's me, I put it on. I'm gonna show you why. So you make sure the valve is closed clockwise. You just have to turn it clockwise. And I'm gonna use my small compressor to build pressure inside of the system. And now just connect the hose of the compressor to the yellow line, open the valve, and you just have to start the compressor. I'm gonna let it run the compressor until I'm gonna reach 100 psi, somewhere around that. And now we are at 100 psi. So now that the system is full of air, and by the way, you never want to start the car with all this air inside of the system. So now don't worry with that. This is the DY method. Professional don't gonna put compressed air inside of it. They're gonna use nitrogen. They're gonna send and kind of gas. There's no moisture inside of it to make those tests. So now why we want to put some pressure inside of the system, because I'm gonna give you a tricks. And what you're gonna buy this stuff. This is simply a bubble for kids. You know, the stuff that we buy for make bubbles. And now you can also use 50-50 water and soap. This is really great to find leaks, so it will bubble very well. And to my opinion, the best way to find AC system leak is a kit that you can buy on Amazon. This is an UV light with the yellow glass. When you're gonna look to your car at the darkness, it's gonna jump in your face. And this kit is pretty cheap on Amazon, and I'm gonna put the link. With this light, you really can see where the leak is, because you're gonna see the dye that you put inside of the system. And how to put dye inside of the system, you can use those gauge. You can put a can of dye at the end of it. You can also buy some can of Freon, and this can already got some dye in it. So you can try to refill your system and let it work a couple of days to let the time to the dye to came out of your system somewhere. But bubbles works really well. I hope I'm gonna be able to show you. And the next thing you can do to find a leak is to use a sniffer. A sniffer smells the Freon, and he's gonna make a beep when he smells Freon. but this is not the best system because when you got a leak somewhere, you can throw freon everywhere inside of the engine, so it may beep for nothing. So I'm not gonna use this tool for you, and those two methods should be great to find the leak. At this point, I didn't have find the leak. This is the first time for me that I'm gonna try to repair AC system by myself. So I'm at the same point that you, but I done a lot of research on how to do it. I'm gonna also send you a link of a guy I find on YouTube. This is an old mechanic, and he share a lot of great information. So if you want to go to check his channel, I'm gonna put the link inside of the description. So now I'm gonna disconnect the both high and low pressure side. I'm gonna close the valve first. So now that I close the valve, I can remove the hose. And now I'm gonna try to show you what I mean. I'm very sorry for the footage, but because I'm at the daylight. So you see just right there, this is what you're gonna see when you're gonna see freon. So you really want to inspect those valves because sometimes those valves can leak, but in this case it's normal to see freon on the side of the port because I put some dye inside of the system. So when the air comes out of the system with the gauge, sometimes it's gonna left some freon around it. And now what you're gonna do, you have two lines, and bigger one, this is the low pressure side. So as you see, this one is bigger, so you want to inspect this one, and you can also inspect the high side port. So this is this one. So you just have to follow the H with the cap with the H, and you follow the line. Anyway, both lines should be sealed. If you see some freon goes outside of those lines, this is a leak. So you're gonna start to spray everywhere. You can spray inside of it, so you're gonna see if it's bubble. So it should be sealed. So as you see, there's no bubble at all, so this valve is good. I also remove this cap right there. There's a nut that I remove to see if there's some leak somewhere. And now after that, you can shoot air. This is those kind of hose. This is metal and rubber hose, and this is press fit. So they put this piece of metal around it, and they press the rubber against the metal. So you want to put a bubble on this side right there, and on this side to see if there's some leak somewhere. And you wait to see if you see something, because as you remember, we got 100 psi in the side of the stem, so it should be enough to put a lot of pressure inside of the stem and make bubbles. So you work around every hose like this and wait for bubbles. This is great. And now there's another one right there. I know on camera it's hard to show you, but by the eyes it's gonna be very easy to see. Okay, all right, and you see right there this connector. Okay, so this connectors tells to the PCM. The PCM is the brain of the car. It tells if there's enough pressure to make run the AC compressor right there. This is, I'm gonna show you later. Most of the car, the PCM gonna block the clutch of the compressor, but in this car, the Hyundai Santa Fe, there's a kind of solenoid that let the freon pass or not inside of the pump. Don't put water inside of the connection right there, but you can shoot some spray bubble around it. So you can put some bubbles around it to see if it leaks. And now I'm gonna do the same thing with the high pressure side. You continue to spray everywhere, and you can spray everywhere you see some connection. Just right there. Gonna shoot more stuff. So after 10 minutes, I put back the gauge on it, and as you see now we are at 80 psi. So clearly we got a huge leak on this system because we lost almost 20 psi of pressure in 10 minutes. So when you're gonna put back Freon on this system, you want to be sure that the pressure stay at 100 psi for at least 30 minutes. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the front bumper. Don't worry, I'm gonna put a link for how to remove the bumper on this car. So, and now right there, those connections are really important because this is where the freon get colder inside of the car. So you want to be sure that those lines not leak. I can shoot bubble everywhere to see around the edge right there to see if there's some leak somewhere. As you see right there, this is an oil stain. Sometimes that can mean that there's a leak somewhere because you got oil inside of the AC system. But in this case, both radiators, the AC condenser and the radiator of the car have the stain at the same place. So I presume that this is not oil leak. So I don't see any leak for the moment. So I really think this is the hose right there. I'm gonna show you just right there. I see a lot of bubble right there, and when I put my glasses, UV glasses, I saw a lot of green, phosphorescent green. I'm sorry by the way for my English, my first language is French. So I'm pretty sure this hose is toast. So I'm gonna change this bad boy, and I'm gonna also change those lines right there. I see when with the UV light, I see a lot of green just right there. So I'm gonna change those two lines, and when I'm gonna replace the line, I'm gonna replace the seal inside of the system. So for the moment, I just want to order the right part. So now I'm under the car. This is the AC compressor. I shoot my bubble stuff everywhere to see if there's something, but I don't see bubbles there. But as you see just right there, I don't know if on camera this is a great view, but there's a little bit of small bubbles come out of this hose. So for sure this hose is toast. I'm gonna replace it. So this is the same hose that I showed you before on the top. So I'm sorry for the footage because I'm under the car. It's not always easy to film. Now we are at the night, so I hope I'm gonna be able to show you. Okay, I put the glass on my phone and I hope you're gonna be able to see. Look around right there. You see this white crust around the sensor. This is a huge leak. There's a lot of freon around this sensor, so I'm gonna call a new one. Okay guys, something happened to me because this sensor is the AC pressure sensor, and as you remember, I point you this ring all around there. I suppose at the time that it was a huge leak of freon, but once I got the sensor in hand, I realized that this is just the plastic of the sensor, because this thing right there, this is not metal, this is plastic. And what it happens is when you put your UV light around something in plastic, looks white or yellowish, it's gonna look like if it was some UV dye. But look at this. You see on the thread of the sensor, I didn't have the yellow light on the lens. Actually, you can really clearly see the dye on the threads of this sensor. So I ordered a new sensor. It was cheap on Amazon, but something happens to me because the new sensor was bad, and my AC compressor won't kick on because it can't properly read the pressure inside of the system. So what I'm gonna do now that I inspect, I'm gonna close the light for you. So this is clearly not Freon. This is just the white plastic all around it. So I'm gonna put back the OEM sensor in place to see if it solved my problem, and I'm gonna change this seal just to make sure that everything is correct. So be careful with that, because just like me, because I'm new in the world of the AC troubleshooting, you can make a mistake and change part for nothing. And after that, don't know if you can see, but I know in camera it may looks not perfect, but you see right there the white circle. This is UV dye, so I clearly can see a huge leak right there. I'm gonna remove the bumper quickly for you to see if the condenser at the front is healthy. Okay, so I removed the bumper for you, and I'm gonna put my glass on my phone, and look at this. You see just right there, guys, trust me, on the phone this is not that easy to see, but to the eyes that is obvious. So just right there, there's a leak. So I'm gonna change the seal and the hose anyway on this one, so it's gonna be perfectly sealed again. So I think this car got a lot of small leaks, so this is why the bubble method wasn't that much efficient, because there's a lot of very small leaks. So if I add a small one, another, at the end of the day we got a huge leak. I can also use the vacuum pump to create a vacuum and see if it can hold the vacuum. The goal right there is to have a seal system. Once it's sealed, we could just gonna remove the moisture inside of it and replace it with Freon. So I'm gonna call the parts and install that. So I'm really happy with my first experience with this method. To be honest, the best way to find leaks is clearly the UV light with the dye inside of the system. But you can find the leaks with the bubble spray or the soap that you spray everywhere. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna make a lot of content about this AC system, like change the condenser or the expansion valve.